God is not dead and we're all made in his image. Even Nietzsche be like, nah, but all jokes aside, why does everyone seem to hate Nietzsche? But yet he has influenced groups from polar opposite sides of the political spectrum, from the LGBTQ and Satanists to Nazis and even some Christians. Ultimately, it all comes down to how you interpret Nietzsche, and most people get him wrong. And funny enough, how you interpret Nietzsche reveals everything about you, even things you didn't know about yourself. You see, Nietzsche's writings are a lot like the Bible, not only because they're hard to understand, but because of how flexible he is. In one paragraph he will say this, and on the next he will say this. Which one is it, bro? Make up your mind. Same thing with the Bible. In one verse it will say this, and then in the different one it will say this. It pretty much contradicts itself. But anyone who knows what they're talking about would tell you they're not actually contradictions, but rather parts of a larger picture that need context in order for them to make sense. But as we all know, not everyone sits around paying attention to the literature, so in turn, people grab these texts, take them out of context, and make them fit their narrative. This is how you get certain Nietzsche passages that make it sound like he has kissed the wall, and in others, it makes it look like he himself is leading the Third Reich. Context matters, and this is also what people don't get right about Nietzsche. In most of his writings, he's just making what he thinks are observations. A lot of Reddit atheists like to quote him by saying God is dead, as if he's celebrating this fact. But in fact, if you actually read him, he is not happy about this and thinks it's one of the worst things that has happened to Europe because it will lead to degeneracy. He is not necessarily saying that they are right or wrong, good or bad. He is just saying how things in the world are, not how they should be. He rarely takes a stand on things and says you should be this or that you are wrong and I'm right. The only thing he does take a stand on is saying that you should love life and say yes to it and seek to overcome yourself. So in other words, stop being a bitch and live your life to the fullest and live up to your full potential. And don't let anyone put limits on you, not people or religion. The only limits you should have are the ones that you put on yourself. Be like Napoleon. No one is stopping you from becoming an African warlord. The only barriers that exist are the ones that you place on yourself. And how you interpret Nietzsche also reveals everything about you. If you read him and all you do is feel despair, then you're probably a bitch and have some internal work to do. But if you read him and feel empowered, you're probably healthy, handsome, and based, just like me. But if you read him and you think you can become the Ubermensch, man, then fuck it. Be the Ubermensch. Fuck what Nietzsche says and all those dorks have to say anyways. Well actually Nietzsche says you can't become the Ubermensch, you can only lay the world for it. Man, fuck that, man. Me when I choose to interpret Nietzsche however the fuck I want to. Nah, but all jokes aside, I think you could benefit a lot from reading him because you will learn a lot about yourself, especially if you read something from him and it stings a little bit. The best perspective to have when reading him is not taking anything he says personally, you know? Just read it as if he's just making observations about the world. Read Nietzsche as it isms and not thou shouts. I personally think you should start with Thus Spoke Zarathustra or the Antichrist, as they are very beginner friendly and super easy to understand. Trust me, like and subscribe.